I can say, do this every day and send me a DM on Slack. And CoFounder is going to go ahead and make that an automation.
Wow.
That's all I have to say. And it sets up everything for you. I actually learned that one the hard way. It sent like 20 different calendar invites to people in my spam folder. It sent like 20 different calendar invites to people in my spam folder. And I literally had to send apology emails to everyone and then block the people that needed to be blocked. One of the coolest things that I use it for while fundraising, I told CoFounder, read all of these and put them in my calendar as holds. And it did that, and it saved me a ton of time.
All right, Andrew Pignanelli, welcome to Economics. I am really excited to have you. The reason I'm excited to have you is because you founded a company called the General Intelligence Company of New York, and your first product is this product called CoFounder. I saw this video that was released, and there was a tagline that you had in there that really caught my ear, which was, we want to facilitate one-person billion-dollar companies, which sounds outlandish, but you guys have raised a good amount of money. You launched on September 8th of this year. Today is October 27th, and you have already 6,000 customers. You've got in the mid hundreds of daily active users. The company is growing really, really fast. And I think you're tackling this really cool, unique problem, which is, how do I, as a founder, extend myself without having to do it the traditional way, which is hiring a team, onboarding a team, and growing that way? And I think for people who are listening, who are entrepreneurs, that's what they want to figure out. Is like, how do I grow my business without necessarily having to scale the people side of things? So my first question to you is, what does it mean to you to help companies become one-person billion-dollar companies?
Yeah, well, and thanks for having me on. This concept's really important for us. We like to think about entrepreneurs all the time and the challenges that they face every day. And going after this one-person billion-dollar company is like a long-term goal on just solving those problems for them, in their day-to-day lives. We wanted to make it really, really easy for people to start companies and to run companies. And that's what we started, was with that goal of making it so fast, so easy that you could have a business idea at night on Friday, and then by Monday morning have an actual, real, legitimate business. And so that's really what we're working towards. We've seen it resonate with people too on like the early signups of these like startup founders and entrepreneurs and things that are just trying to use it to give themselves more time in the day.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I've been thinking about this a lot myself, because there is so much data out there that we just individually create, right? I've got my Gmail, I've got Google Docs, I've got text messages, we've got Slack. So you got your CRM where you track leads, you got where you document things, et cetera. And like, I'm constantly thinking, how do I create an end of the day context document so that tomorrow I can just be off and running and have AI help me with a number of these processes? And as I've been thinking about it, the hard part is getting all of those to tie in, but also making sure there's enough capacity for AI to look through it, synthesize it, and then, give whatever analysis and context it needs. How do you do it? Like, how are you connecting to all these disparate data points? Is it magic? Don't lie to me. It's magic, isn't it?
It's definitely not magic. And I sometimes wish it was. We plug into all these different systems and we off into them. And we actually built these integrations ourselves, because if you use someone else's standard, you tend to lose the ability to control the experience.
So I am a novice. Are you technical? Are you like an engineering background? Okay. So I'm not. I am what the kids call a vibe coder. Claude Code is my tool of choice. But you said a couple things in there. So MCP, I just want to define that for people. So that's the Model Context Protocol. Can you explain exactly what that is?
Yeah. So MCP came out in, I think it was February, where this is Anthropic's take on how do we get a bunch of agents connected to a bunch of tools. And it's this new standard where you take like an API, which you can plug into some service, and you give it a series of instructions attached to the tools. And so you can essentially just give this thing to an agent, and it can read the instructions and use the server to run the tool. So if we're talking about emails, there is an email, like a Gmail MCP, where it says, oh, if you want to send an email, use the send email tool. Now, this is different than an API, which is essentially just a list of all the tools that you can use. And so I think that's a big difference.
Let's back up actually even just a little more, because I want to talk about each one of these things. What problem is this solving that you created where entrepreneurs are they're trying to fix, right? Like what problem is it actually attacking?
Yeah. So we call this the million paper cuts problem, which is less of like one single thing and more of like there's a million things you do every day that are small and they take a bit of time and they take a bit of brain capacity. So think of it like you have a couple people trying to schedule a meeting and you need to get them together. You need to send a calendar invite. You need to send someone an email with info on your company. You need to get a document from one email, put it in another and send it across to someone. You need to forecast a budget, but it's relatively simple. Or you just need to research something. Like all of this stuff is relatively small on the surface, but if you're an entrepreneur and you're a business owner, you have to do a million of these things every day. And so our solution is with CoFounder takes a lot of that off your plate and it's able to just do it for you. We're pitching it as this sort of chief of staff or like self-completing to-do list that you have every day.
Yeah, because for a lot of entrepreneurs, especially as you're scaling, it's like, oh, it'd be nice to have somebody to schedule this meeting or to give me a prep document for this person I'm about to meet with, or to be up to speed so that I can understand where I even pull sales data from the CRM. There's a lot of effectively either context building that you have to do as an entrepreneur or handing off context to another individual so they can go and execute a task. So like you're saying, it's like a million of these little cuts kind of throughout the day. This would allow across all of those data sources, or I don't even know, modes of communication, right? Slack, email, text, et cetera, for CoFounder to help you as a chief of staff, right? It's like to kind of be an extension of you.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's just like a thing doer, is what we call it. And it pulls, and the reason it's good at that is because it pulls in the context from how you actually work. So like instead of just doing stuff, it does stuff while knowing you. So instead of just scheduling a meeting, it knows, oh, you're not going to be there. If you have to go across town, you're not going to be there in time. So you can't schedule at that restaurant. Or instead of just writing some random reply to an email, it can write a reply knowing the context you need to write that email, which is a really big thing that you see as an executive, is just having to have this knowledge to deal with these things.
What are the biggest use cases you're seeing people use CoFounder for right now?
We are seeing a lot of scheduling and emails. A big one is also research. One of the things CoFounder can do is it can monitor a set of like websites and give you updates on those websites. So if you give like 20 websites, it can give you an update every time something changes. So we're seeing people use this for competitor monitoring, for content creation, to, let's say, monitor a bunch of blogs and pull in content from them and then write your own blog piece. We're seeing people use it for recruiting. They use it for recruiting like automatically by setting up sequences. We see people using it for keeping themselves up to date every day.
I think I'm the most curious about what's it doing in the scheduling? Is it making decisions? Do you like, hey, CoFounder, schedule a meeting with Barry for next week, find any time, and then it goes and does it? Or how does that interaction work?
Depends on what you ask, right? So if you say find any time, it would look at your calendar and find free slots on the calendar. If you say next week, it's going to make a decision about what that means. Yeah, maybe if you say next week, it might be like Monday. And then it will look at the free slots in your calendar and then it will figure out who the person you were talking about is by searching them in your email. And then it will actually send a calendar invite. Now, we've built all these guardrails so that it's not just sending these things willy-nilly, I actually learned that one the hard way by not having those guardrails and plugging my email and calendar, and it sent like 20 different calendar invites to people in my spam folder, actually. Yeah. I literally had to send apology emails to everyone and then block the people that needed to be blocked. The way that works now is it queues it up and it's like, hey, this is a calendar invite for this next week. You want to send it? Yes. And so the biggest change from your workflow goes from like having to go and do that to just approving it. And now you're seeing all these things and you can just approve them and you can approve the emails that are written. And then you can just hit all of these things at the same time.
Can I see what that looks like?
Yeah.
And while you're pulling that up, I'm curious on your thoughts here. I've been thinking a lot about AI and agents in particular as if you want them to work well, you've got to treat them as humans. I know that kind of like sounds weird to say, but if you had unlimited money and could hire an assistant to handle your schedule, what would you need to tell them in order for them to work well? You'd have to be very specific. You don't just say, hey, schedule a meeting with Barry. It's like, oh, schedule a meeting with Barry at this place next week during these times. Like It's the same thing. It's just you're happening to be using AI, which feels a little bit weird. And so with what you're building, do you feel that philosophy? Am I oversimplifying it? Or is that like kind of a good way to think about how to interact with these agents?
It is changing the way that you're thinking about this stuff now. Like we lean into stuff and companies where they're also down to lean into AI. If you're able to, you can lean into it really hard. And it does change the way that you work, right? So like instead of opening your email the first thing in the morning, maybe you'll open CoFounder and tell it to read your email. Or like instead of starting the chat session, you might make an automation that starts this chat session.
What did you type in here? I'm looking at this right now. So CoFounder has a chat window that you go to and you're interacting with.
So I asked it, what's my calendar look like on Thursday? And so this is to give you an idea of like how it works, right? So it used its memory system to see past calendar events, but future calendar events are not in the memory yet. And so it did a search and it found what I'm doing on Thursday, which this is all accurate. Like this is the things there. And then it's giving me a response, right? So morning, I do this. During the day, I'm speaking at that time. And then in the evening, I have cocktail hour and then a party, right? So like that's how it kind of uses the tools. And it's got this to-do list. And this to-do list will like, it can be really long or it can be really short. So I can say,
oh, is that native in CoFounder?
Yeah. So this is one of the ways we trick the agent into running for a long time. So I can say something like, it's true. And I can say something like, okay, put this in a Google sheet with each event in a row. And so now this is going to use the spreadsheet tool to go and put this in a Google sheet. And you'll see the to-do list like light up and it will be able to show you that.
I'm assuming you've given it access to your Google Drive and your Gmail and like all these things have already been ported in.
Yeah, I can show you that in a minute. Let's just let's watch CoFounder run on this sheet for a sec, and then I'll go and show you the integrations. But yeah, I mean, it plugs into like everything you use in your workflow.
What are you running this on top of? What model is this using?
Right now, this is using Claude 4.5 Haiku. We can use 4.5 Sonnet, or we can use ChatGPT type models. So you can see there, it made this to-do list where it has to be in Google Sheet and add them. And it's going to cross items off on this to-do list as it does it. Yeah. And the models have been a little bit slow today, so it might be a little bit slower than normal, but it will go and like, do this across different integrations and things. And you can make these to-do lists really long. Oh yeah, there we go. So this shows you the human in the loop aspect a little bit. It can create a Google Sheet, and if I click show more, it should be able to run that.
But it needs you to actually say, yes, run.
Correct. Yeah. So let me try this.
Is it to the point yet where it doesn't need you? Or why does it need the human in the loop?
We've set this up so that you can go and do it like that, because we don't want the agent just doing stuff for you, right? Let's say this is a very long, complicated spreadsheet that you made. You don't want it just writing to that spreadsheet without your approval. Now, what you can do though, is you can set this to auto approve, which will just keep running.
Just do it.
And it will basically say yes to everything. And so if you're doing something that's a really long time, you're going to want it to do that. So if I click this, I might have to log in with my other Google account, but not yet. See, there it is. And really quickly, I want to show you what connecting stuff looks like. If you go to the integrations page, we've got all these integrations connected. And so like Google Drive, Intercom, Loops, Notion, and I can show you how this works. If I click disconnect here, it will just disconnect it. It just takes like 3 seconds to connect to Google Sheets. And you just hit continue. And I don't think you can see in this tab, but if I connect to my...
No, I can't. I'm just looking at the account connection in progress.
Yep.
Pipe.
And then so I just click that, and then now it should be good. It was just like two buttons on the other side. I clicked the Google login screen. So, we plug into all this different stuff.
How is this different than like if I'm in Claude and I've connected my Google Drive and my Gmail and I want to query it? Like, is this different, or like how is it functionally different?
Yeah, so you can do pretty like simple operations in a very similar way to Claude. But one of the biggest differences is the memory system that we've added. So this like knows things about me, as well as, so I can say something like what's going on in engineering. and it will pull stuff from its native memory. And it will tell me what, the things that have happened from my memory in my company. And I think that's the biggest difference, is it knows me and it can do this stuff.
Yeah, because if I was in Claude, I'd either need to have, if it's a project, I'd either have to add new context documents to the project or have some way of getting it up to speed on what's going on. It's not persistent.
And there's one thing that I haven't shown you yet, which is the way you make automations. Now, CoFounder is the easiest way to make automations in the world. So I can say, okay, do this every day and send me a BM on Slack. And CoFounder is going to go ahead and make that an automation. And that's it. That's all I have to say. And it sets up the webhooks and everything. And it sets up the context and the tools and everything for you. And so if I click this, it will go to the flow. And this is the automation. Now it runs every time. Whoa. So if I want to try it, I can click test and it's going to test it. It's going to run it right now for me. And this.
And you don't have to go through Zapier. You don't have to go through Zapier. It runs the automations for you.
Exactly. It runs them for me right now. So it's testing this right now. It's pulling up the flow. And so now it's initiating, checking GitHub and sending a Slack message.
Dude, that's really cool.
Here. Yeah. I mean, it's all natural language based. If I want to change the plan, if I go to the flow here and I want to change the plan, I can just click it and I can edit it and change it right there. If I want to change the integrations, they happen automatically. I can't even choose these because the agent just knows what I want.
So if I was a business owner, I'd be like, you know what? I want marketing report end of day, every day. I want engineering to report every day, end of day. I want finance once a week. And I could come in here and say, give me the marketing end of day report. This is how I want it to look every single day, sent to my email. And then it would just create that automation.
Exactly. Yeah. And you can have it ask you for permission to do whatever you want, or you can have it run automatically. So, if I say to run automatically, it won't ask me permission to send it in. It will just send me the report. And it's all with natural language. So you can just tell the agent you don't like how something is, and the agent will change it for you. And so this is a big part of our thesis for the company, which is agents all the way down. Everything is an agent.
Yeah.
And if you do that, then you can do everything with natural language, and we can things just kind of work together and they can operate together. And that's how.
Can it respond to emails for me? Let's say that I wanted to, would I create an agent to do that? Or if I was hey, I just want you to go through all the emails that I get every day with questions that you know how to answer, and answer those questions, and then star all the things that I need to look at. Because as an entrepreneur, there are things that I don't need to look at, but they come to my email because whatever, payroll processed. Here's the update that it actually processed, or there's a customer question, but it was handled by my marketing team. I don't necessarily need to see that, but how would I set it up as an assistant to basically handle my emails?
Yeah, so it's just as easy. So this one, for example, is someone wanted to take emails from investor updates and forward them to whoever this is. And CoFounder just has access to your email, right? I don't get investor updates because I'm not a VC, but it was just as easy, right? It can read my emails. And so I'm going to try to see if I can do this without leaking all the emails in my inbox on this podcast. But we'll see. What was your email address?
NIK.
Email from NIK
at CoFounders.
CoFounders.com.
Mm-hmm. I think I made the joke to you when I saw your video that I was like,
yeah,
I might want to buy my website someday.
So it's going to do, when it's loading here, it will do a memory search. Okay. And it was not able to find you in the memory search, but it will be able to find you in the long run agent search. And so now it's just going to search my Gmail and find it. So it does two searches.
Is it storing a, static context document every day of kind of updating your history? And then if it doesn't find it there, it runs an actual agent search?
Correct. Yeah. So that works more for concepts and people
Does it currently respond to emails for you?
Yeah, if you wanted to. So I can say, let's see, send an email to Nick saying I'm excited to be on his podcast. And so when it will pull up this thing, it's not going to send it immediately. This is one of those things where I have to approve it. But yeah, we've got a little email editor here. And one of the things is it makes this to-do list every time. So very simple tasks take a minute. Yeah. We're looking into making that faster. But
hey, I don't know if you remember this, but when we started this podcast, we entered into a social contract. I would spend time, energy, and money producing this podcast, interviewing these individuals, and giving you insights into how to build, buy, start, grow your business, and you would like, subscribe, and leave me 5-star review. Now, out of that, we both get to talk to really cool people and hear really cool insights. We both get a ton of value. But I just want to help you keep your word. So would you do me a favor? Will you go leave a 5-star review for me on Apple or Spotify? It would really help. And if you want, even share this with a friend.
You could kind of just operate within CoFounder and never leave that window. Like, you don't need to go to Slack. You don't need to go to your email. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. It just feels like you could get any updates here and not have to like context or Windows switch, I guess. Is that, did you design it that way?
We did. Yeah. And we're actually launching this feature we call like to-do list or home, where instead of mini to-do list, it has an email. I don't know. I guess it's like running issues with the Gmail tool, but you could do everything from within CoFounder and basically make this to-do list and then have it complete itself.
Can you tell it, hey, these types of emails, you can always respond if you know X, Y, Z? Like, can you effectively automate the responses? Does that make sense? Because like I've handed off things to my executive assistant. She just answers emails. I don't have to like check anything, but there are certain things she can't. She stars them for me and then I look at them later.
Yeah. So here's an example of like one that looks at my email for spam, and it's really inefficient, but it does work, where it will say, oh, if it's from here, mark the email as spam. And like, here's an example of some email from someone, and it scanned all these emails and it said, oh, none of these are spam. So it didn't actually need to mark them as spam, but I could also have it respond to these emails. So like respond to the last one, and then it will just like pull it up and write a response.
If I'm an entrepreneur or if I wanted to use this, how hard is the onboarding? Because if I just connect my Google Drive, there's a million things in there. Do I have to tell the AI what's what, or does it go through and sort of comb it and self-identify what's important and what's not?
It goes in and it finds all that stuff out. It structures the memory for you on its own. And actually, people love our onboarding. We have become known as like one of the nicest onboardings in the industry. And it figures out your style, figures out your calendar, and it reads this for you. And we actually designed the onboarding so that you only have to type something in twice, which is your name. And it's actually already filled in for you. It's your name and your company's website. And both of these things are filled in for you if you use your company email. And so,
what industries are you seeing people use this in right now? Is it just a lot of tech founders, or are you getting people, SMB owners all the way to corporate individuals? Like, who's actually using this tool?
We've seen a lot of tech founders. I think that's our biggest sort of segment. We also have people from like mid-sized startups, like 1,000-person companies, some of the companies you might have heard of. I don't know if I should name drop or not right now.
That's okay. Yeah, it's fine. Big companies. The biggest companies, many people. It's like, pull it down.
They're huge.
They're huge. Hugest.
We do have a number of investors that use it too, because they like the monitoring system a lot. Also, I talked to a bunch of investors while fundraising, and I think it stuck with them. And then we've had some requests for like services businesses as well, like people doing agencies or like accountants and things like that are just using it to save themselves time.
What's the monitoring function?
You can give it like a list of URLs, and it will monitor those websites for changes. And so what DCs will use it for is companies they're interested in or competitors of deals they're looking at. So you can give it like 20 URLs, like, oh, these are all the competitors. And then say, oh, monitor these for any blog posts or press releases. So when they get funded.
How many could you monitor? Is it just like, what's the limit?
I actually don't know. I think it's like 100 or something. We may have just set that because if you go higher, it gets really expensive, because we're basically putting a little very cheap mini agent on these websites to check. Yeah, I mean, I think 100. I could look into more, but
are you using this?
Of course, I use it for managing my schedule. I use the monitoring for competitors. I know all my competitors. I know everything about them.
What's your favorite thing? So what do you use it the most for?
I like the scheduling. I have it draft and send emails, and I have it draft and send calendar invites so that I don't have to think about it. Okay, so one of the coolest things that I use it for while fundraising, and I think this is the most useful thing that I've used it for ever, was when you're fundraising, you get introduced to like 40 different people and you have to meet them all as quickly as possible. And so you immediately turn these conversations into scheduling. And the problem is someone has an assistant or someone needs to get another person on. And so you have all of these email chains where there's a date and time decided, but they're not in your calendar. And it is impossible to tell when you're free and when you're not. So I told CoFounder, read all of these and put them in my calendar as holds so I can reason about when I'm free. It did that and it saved me a ton of time. I mean, I like would have had to have an actual assistant to be able to do something like that.
I've had this pendant. It's called the Limitless AI, but there's others like Claude and I can't remember. Anyways, where it records a lot of conversations. Could there be a function within CoFounder where I'm like, hey, let's take all the conversations I had today and just update my calendars on things that I said I would do?
We literally have a Limitless integration. So
do you really?
You could, yes. It's because an engineer on our team has Limitless and he likes to use it. So he'll like plug stuff in. So an example, we actually have always on microphones in our office that plug into CoFounder. It's a little crazy where
it's creepy.
It's a little wild.
I get it.
Yeah. But then every day it just like, it assigns context and like tasks to people, or it just like tells someone if you're working on something like, hey, like this, here's something you were talking about with this guy, like about this feature or something.
What's the automation with Limitless? Because I've found Limitless doesn't have a great ecosystem. So the fact that you guys have an API integration with them, I'm like giddy as a school child right now.
It can list all the life logs and it can get all the life logs. So it's a read-only thing. It can't like push to it. But if you have, like, I think life logs,
but it can pull from it.
Yeah, it can pull all the things from it. It can search for specific blogs. It could like, do things like that. And so you can, if you pull stuff from Limitless, you can say, oh, every day pull all my stuff from Limitless and then summarize it for me and give me a transcript or something.
I'd use Limitless when I go to conferences and I'd meet people and I'd have it on and I'd be like, oh, Brian, nice to meet you. And then at the end of the day, I'd be like, who did I meet with? And it would list them all. And what do they do? And so I'd have like this CRM, if you will, of people that I've met with, companies that they're with, and like things that we spoke about, when I want to follow up with them, et cetera. But I had to do it all manually and there probably is better automations at this point. This was like 6 months ago. So someone's probably screaming at the screen right now. I'm like, you moron, you can totally do this. But for me, it would just be nice to have something that at the end of the day goes and pulls all of those logs and then creates, here's to-dos, here's a schedule, here's who you should follow up with, updates a CRM. Like could it do those things? Could I tell it to do that? And at the end of the day, it's populating my CRM and email and setting calendars, et cetera.
Yep. It would be really easy.
Really?
In fact, you could just tell it exactly what you told me. CoFounder could make that happen.
Oh my gosh.
We like to say it's the simplest automation experience in the world. And it's just because it's all natural language, right? And if you're describing, like if you can effectively describe what you want done, you can get it to happen.
Wow.
Yeah, we're pushing it as far as we can. It's
but
really
only if you have the API integration, right? Like if I'm trying to get it to tie to something you don't have the API for, then we got to figure something else out.
Yeah. And like we're working towards how to make that scalable, because there's a trade-off between how wide you go and how tall you go, right? So we could have like 1 million integrations with like no depth, and that's one way to do it. Or we could have like 30 with a lot of depth, and that's the other way to do it. And we're picking the latter option because we want to build this system. Our goal is to build a system of a company, right? And not to build into everyone's system of a company. And I think there's a big difference there. But
how worried are you about competition? Because like I was talking about Comet or Atlas, I created a workflow automation in Zapier last night using Atlas. Because I was just like, hey, go to Zapier and create this for me. And it did. It wasn't like anything incredible, but it created the automation for me. Are you worried about competition, or like how do you kind of view a changing landscape and trying to build a moat at the same time? Like that would scare me.
I'm not super worried. I mean, yeah, it's a highly competitive space, but our goal is not to make a good AI assistant, because then we would be competing directly against Anthropic and ChatGPT, right? And they have way more money than we do. Our goal is to make autonomous companies. And that is really where we're going to unlock the value. And it's, our value is going to come from enabling somebody to start a business and run a business immediately and in a way that is legitimate and not just slop, allowing them to do that. And CoFounder is just our first step. And so, with our vision, competition doesn't worry me very much.
How do you enable these companies?
So CoFounder is essentially our first step. And it's like this chief of staff assistant thing, right? But we're really focused on solving the coordination problem between departments. So when we talk about like how we're actually going to get to the $1 billion company, it has more to do with being able to coordinate things together as opposed to just making this assistant. And what that actually means is we want to plug into all these vertical agents that people are building. We want to wrap it up and make it really easy for an entrepreneur to use. So for example, you've got coding agents, you've got product analytics agents, and you've got customer support agents. If you can coordinate those together, they're all operating autonomously. You can work towards a high level goal of like increase my customer retention, but each of them individually is not going to do that. And so we're working on coordinating them together for the product department and the sales department and the marketing department and the ops department, and building these agents that can work on goals that are much higher level, and then eventually enable these people to own these companies and run these companies.
So the first vertical that you tackled was chief of staff assistants.
Basically, yeah, because that's like, you have to start somewhere, and that's one of the most solvable things right now. That's what we saw, at least.
But what do you think is the next easiest solvable, most solvable problem within an organization?
I think the product department, but I don't think entirely. Like, I think, just enabling a higher level of above vibe coding. So take, for example, like something like Lovable, where you can make an app full stack, right? We want to take that and extend it to, okay, you have your app. Now you can extend it to more business. You can plug in analytics, and you can have an agent operate on the analytics, and you can plug in a customer support agent. And now you've got this product department as opposed to just a product. And so that's what we're going to be doing next.
How do you think about educating the market? Because, for example, I worked in hospice. Do you know what hospice is?
Yep.
Hospice is end-of-life care, and many people think hospice is, oh, now I'm dead. But the truth is many people live sometimes more than a year on hospice. Hospice is really just about managing symptoms. You have a terminal diagnosis and a prognosis of 6 months or less, and we help you die comfortably. I mean, that's kind of the easiest way to say it. But there's a lot of education that goes into that, because many people just think, oh, I'm on hospice, I'm dying tomorrow, you're just going to give me morphine. And so we have to go out, talk a lot. This is the first time you probably had your product compared to hospice, but your product is similar in the sense that there's an education component on how do you use these things, or what do you need to have even in order to even unlock the potential there. How do you think about educating or creating a market that really isn't educated?
Yeah, I mean, new user experience is really important for this. So I think pushing content out, getting people towards the product is one thing, but then you have to push content out within the product. So when someone opens it up and they see this empty box, it's like, what do I do? That's the biggest problem you have to solve when you're working on an app like this. And we're solving it by using this memory system that we've built up to see what you want to automate before you know it. And this is really, really key. And one of the things that we're putting a lot of work into right now is like, okay, I know that whenever you get an invoice from this email, you forward it to your accounts payable department. Or I know every Monday you send an email to this person with this information, or something like that. Pulling those things in and like making these automations for people is really, really big. And so this is like a one way of educating, is like this is how you do it. But then there's the content on like, okay, well, how do you build these automations into your life? And we're pushing that on like content of like, how do we use it? How do I use it? What does this person use it for?
Like there's two problem sets. One problem set is just getting them to make the decision to use it, right? Like, okay, I've hook up Google and hook up Slack and hook up whatever, all these other tools. Great, now it's there. Then there's problem number two. Well, how do I use it? Oh, it's like the first time I hired a virtual assistant. Cool, I have a virtual assistant now. How do I use them? I have to educate them. I have to tell them exactly what I want. And sometimes I don't even know what I want, right? So what does the onboarding look like for new customers? Are you going through that process and asking them a bunch of questions, or are you just figuring it out as you go? Like how does it?
Yeah, our approach has to do with figuring it out from the data that they connect. So we require our users to connect their emails. And when you have their emails, you can see what integrations they use and like their patterns in using these integrations. And so you can figure out how to help people based on that. And just internally, like if you just give the agent access to that and you say, automate this stuff for this person, you'd be surprised at how well it actually works. And so that's kind of our approach. And pulling in things like style are also really important, like style for emails. Your chief of staff, has to write like you and talk like you. And if they're sending emails as you, it has to be like you. So this is another really big thing with CoFounder is like this preferences memory as well.
Does it prompt you? It's like, okay, cool. I went and I studied you and I know everything about you. Does it then tell you, here are 5 things I can do for you? Or do you have to be pushing it to say, go write this email, do my scheduling? Like there's got to be like a push and pull, I'm assuming. How does it work?
Yeah, so you come on and we get your preferences for your email and your calendar by reading your email and reading your calendar. We figure out what you do based on all this info available on you online. And then we use all of those things once you're done onboarding to make 4 automations for you and say, hey, based on this, I made this for you. Yeah, and so you get the first couple. After that, we've got templates that people can use, but we're trying to make it so that constantly you're getting this info of like, hey, I made your life a little better. Here's how you do that. Or like, oh, I saw you're spending time on this. Here's how you do that.
And then are there lots of like proactive things like that where, hey, you haven't talked to me in a while. Let me just send you this message saying, I'm noticing you're talking a lot more in Slack. Would you like me to create daily stand downs for you?
We're a bit early on proactivity. We have the system that gives you these automations and it can run these every week. So it can give you new automations every week, but we want to make it much bigger than it is and much like really know you. So it's not all the way there yet, but it's coming very soon.
What are you personally the most excited about building for yourself? Like selfishly, obviously you solve your scheduling problem, but as you look at this, maybe a year out, 2 years out, 3 years out, what do you think are going to be some of the coolest features that AI, and maybe it's not even within CoFounder, but what do you think are the coolest features that are coming down the pike with AI?
I think the coolest feature that, and we haven't built this yet, and no one's really built this yet, is the ability to like have this sort of dashboard where you spin up a bunch of agents and you control like an army of agents basically. So, one of our goals is to make it feel like you're playing a video game, but it's a real business in the real world. And I don't know all the details to what that will look like, but I do know we're going to build it.
It's amazing.
That's the thing I'm most excited about. I know it's a little abstract, but it's like, okay, well, what if we can make it like playing a video game?
Does any of this stuff freak you out? Like, does this at all make you nervous about where AI is heading?
I think there are serious concerns about what people are going to do for work in like 5 years. I believe that one of the best avenues will be starting a company and like having equity in that company. But aside from that, like I can see this thing doing the jobs of multiple people. Like these white collar jobs, these knowledge work jobs are not long for this world. So that makes me nervous. And I don't think any of the experts have given convincing answers as to how we're going to go from where we are now to like this post-economic, AGI society. They say, oh, well, yeah, I mean, we're going to lose a bunch of jobs and then AI is going to automate everything and it's going to be great. Well, it's like, well, okay, what happens when everybody loses their jobs though? Like there's a gap. If you look at these clips of these people, these CEOs of these big AI companies, they don't give the best answers and they don't give concrete answers either. They basically say, I don't know. And so that also concerns me a little bit.
Yeah, I'd be worried if our ability to scale energy production and capacity was clear, but we don't even have enough energy to be able to power all the things that we'd want to do with AI. So I think that will be a bottleneck anyways, which will give us time. If the power was all there right now, I probably would be a little more worried because it feels like that's the limiting factor at this point. But I don't know. We're all just making it up.
Yeah, I think it doesn't really keep me up at night, but it is something that I think about. And it is something that I think the world's going to have to reckon with at some point.
Well, where's the best place for people to come find you? Or if people want to look at CoFounder, is it live? Is it beta? Is it invite only? Like how would you even mess around?
It's live on cofounder.co. So you can go check it out there. You can connect with me on Twitter. Just my name, Andrew Pignanelli. And you can also follow the company on Twitter. But yeah, I mean, we're hiring great engineers in New York. You can go and test out CoFounder for yourself. We're going to have SOC 2 in like a week. So people are concerned about data, then we got all of that. But
By the time this comes out, they'll have SOC 2. Don't even worry about it.
so that's it. That's how you find me.
Cool. Awesome, man. Well, this is fantastic, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks so much, Nate.
All right. Hopefully you liked that episode. And if you've made it this far, you're either really committed or you're stuck doing yard work and you can't actually skip on your phone. So while I have you, the show is growing, but I have a favor to ask of you. Will you please help me grow the show? I want to reach more people. There's a couple things that you can do. Like and subscribe is the simplest thing. Obviously, you want to get notifications for when the next episode is coming out. But if you go the next step, will you leave me a review? 5-star on Spotify or Apple. What that does is it tells the algorithm that, oh, hey, this is a high value podcast because more people are leaving reviews for it, and it then pushes it out to more people. So that's why when people are like, will you like and subscribe and put a 5-star rating? It's not just to make themselves feel better. It's actually to get more exposure for the show. So if you do that for me, I would greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you next time.